What are you thinking?
You can't be serious.
Do that.
Is he serious?
Think about
What
your
about your
family.
thinking? What
Make it,
about
man.
your family?
Make it, man.
Boy, you
if
better
the
get your
business
savings up.
What
What about
you
your
thinking?
kids? Why would you do that?
Baby.
Have you thought about
What if the
this?
business doesn't work?
It's a little reckless.
Where's your mom?
Reserves.
Where's
Look at
your
your
mom?
savings. Think about your money, man.
What about your kids?
Think about your wife and your kids. Where's your money, man? What's up, y'all? Jay here, also known as Javier, also known as Javier B. Edwards. And as the title of the video implies, I want to talk about why I quit my job during a pandemic. Let's get right into it. So I think it boils down to three main things that I personally find extremely important to just my humanity. Those three things are value, time, and purpose. And all three of those things played a role in me making the decision that I did. So let's start with value. And when I'm talking about value, I'm talking about the cost of a thing, the worth, the intrinsic worth of something. And in this case, myself, my intrinsic worth as a worker, right? Work is something we can't avoid in this country, in this life. We all work and we all work for our wages. Now, what our wages should be vary, right? Depending on your particular career. So if you are an entrepreneur, you set your value, right? Your work, your input determines your output, right? You set that bar yourself and you create your own value as an entrepreneur. As an employee, your value is determined, right? Based on some set of industry metrics. And what becomes really important as an employee are the metrics that you are judged against or weighed according to. Because if those metrics are skewed, if those metrics are unknown, if those metrics don't exist, then your value will be affected. Your compensation will be directly affected. And that's a position I found myself in where there was a lack of metrics, there was poor metrics, and it was really screwing with my value in a way that I believe was detrimental. So I decided to take a risk, walk by faith, bet on myself, bet on the creativity and the capacity that God has given to me innately, and build my own value as an entrepreneur with my wife and my family. Two, time. I think time is of the essence. Time is limited in this life, right? There's all through scripture, we read about how fleeting this life is, how it passes away, how it's like a breath. There's very little time in life in general. So wasting time is a huge issue for a lot of us, right? Including myself. But how does that tie into me making the decision that I did to leave my job? Great question. So I'm of the believer that most of the work that we do in a 9-to-5 job can be completed in 4 hours. I am a firm believer of that. A lot of this work can be done in 4 hours, 5 tops. Go home and be with your family. What I found, especially during the pandemic, was a lot of idleness, right? So I'm already struggling, I'm in this value struggle, right? Now I find myself having a lot of idle time in the workplace, but not having the freedom to use that time to do other value add activities or revenue generating activities. But rather I'm under stipulations to where I must be working in the best interest of the company at all times, even when there is no work to be done for the company per se. So for me as an entrepreneur, that's a huge issue. I am building a business and there are business things that need to be taken care of. So if I need to step out and make a phone call, or if I need to communicate with the client, check emails, edit photos, whatever, I need the time and the space to do that, because that is something that is adding value to my life and to the life of my family. And not being in a place where I have that time and that ability to do that was a detriment. And I had to walk away. So value, time, purpose. Purpose, this is a big one. This is a big one. And I believe we all have purpose. I believe God has given us purpose. And as a Christian, the ultimate purpose is to live a life that's pleasing to God and that brings glory to his name, honors the work of Jesus. I think my wife and I have a lot of dreams as to how we hope to achieve that and how we imagine that might look for us. I got to a juncture or an intersection while being employed where I just, especially during the pandemic, because the pandemic slowed down a lot of things, in my opinion, in my observation. If you want to know, or if you wanted to know what kind of place you worked for, what kind of company you were a part of, you really found that out during the pandemic. Not only during the pandemic, during 2020, because man, 2020 is a mess for society. There's a lot going on as it relates to race relations, foreign affairs, politics. There's so much going on in society. And when the pandemic came, it's just like a pressure cooker. All of this was just put in this pressure cooker and things are exploding and getting out of hand. It's impossible to ignore. And I found myself being someone who has to engage with these issues as a black man, right? As a black working man, going into the workplace during a pandemic, during all that is going on with society. And I found myself realizing the environment that I was in was not an environment that was conducive to the message and the purpose that I've been given in this life. And that's deep, because it is. And there are a lot of variables that played into that, which I won't get into because I don't think they're edifying in this current moment. If you have questions, feel free to comment below. I'll be happy to answer. But I found that the environment was not conducive to my purpose. If I was a plant, that's not a pot I need to be in right now, because there's more for me to do. There's more for me to complete. There's more for me to achieve. There's more for me to attain for the benefit of my family, generationally, not just immediately, but generationally, and also for the glory of God's kingdom, right? Those are the three things that contributed to me leaving my job in the pandemic. Naturally, the next question is, well, what's next? Great, I'm happy you asked. Well, we have a business, a creative services agency called Elroy Studios. You can check out our website in the description below. And we are a team where we focus on providing all sorts of creative services to businesses, specifically small business and mid-sized businesses. That's our focus. What does that look like? It looks like photography, it looks like videography, it looks like graphic design. The goal is to build an agency. I feel like that term agency is so lofty, it's so bougie sometimes. It's just sort of high end, but I think it's not, right? It's just practical. These are people who are pulling together other pieces of talent to execute work. And that's what we want to do. We want to pull talent and we want to execute work at scale at a high level. So check us out if you're a small business and you are in need of quality, keyword quality, assets, photography, videography, graphic design. Definitely hit us up. We'd be happy to work with you, whatever your budget may be. And yeah, that's our goal. We're going to build that business and we're going to continue to build other businesses, right? It's not just us focusing on this one thing, but we are focusing heavily on this. But the goal is also to generate multiple streams and multiple avenues of income. You know, as it said on Earn Your Leisure, one of my favorite podcasts, definitely check them out. You know, having one income is too close to none. And I 100% agree with that. So our goal now as a family is to build multiple, and that's what we're doing. So anyway, thank you for tuning into this. Hopefully it was insightful. Hopefully it was fun and cinematic. Definitely like the video, share it with someone who might need it, who might be going through a similar season. Are you going through a similar season? Let me know in the comments. Have you gone through a similar season? I'd love to hear about it. And subscribe to the channel for more content, hopefully. And be in prayer for us. We need it. We need a lot of prayer. We are undergoing a massive journey. We, that is my wife and I, Jamie, who also has a channel. But yep, that's all, guys.